Hey, Bob Coakley here, your humble sales coach. How would you like to double the amount of policies you sell from inbound calls on the auto show ticket leads? How's that sound? Pretty good? All right, so let's just jump in. The first and foremost, we have to start out by checking our attitude. Winston Churchill says, attitude is the little thing that makes a big difference. And when you're talking about inbound phone calls, it makes a huge difference. Whether we think these are going to be great calls or not really starts with us having a positive attitude towards the call. So first of all, check yourself there. Have a good attitude. Realize they're calling in, they're excited. Take advantage of these. But if you don't have your right attitude, you want to make sure you step back, maybe head into the bathroom, look in the mirror, say, get a good attitude, But change it up. Come on, good attitude. This is awesome. They're sending deals your way. I mean, it's like putting food in front of you that you just got to eat it, right? All right, so have a good attitude. Don't you have a good attitude? All right, let's look at a couple of things that we can do from a practical standpoint because we know we have a good attitude now. Number one, keep your call script handy and visible. The words on there are very specific. They may not seem very different than what you may say on a regular basis, but these little things make a huge difference. So we encourage you to have that script handy so when these calls come in, you can refer to it and actually use these actual words. They do get the maximum odds in terms of closing more policies. The second thing is you want to practice these. You don't want to just read off the script. You've got to practice so it sounds natural, so it sounds like you. So find a friend, find a colleague, and just go through the script, especially the first part of the script a little bit, and have it come out of your mouth a few times. You're going to sound more confident and you'll get into the flow. And at first when you do it, you might be saying to yourself, this doesn't sound like me. But once you do it a few times, it can become you, all right? And the reason we're doing that is because we know this works. We've had some agents test this out. They get better results. If you want to have poorer results, don't do this, okay? But if you want great results, you want to do it. And then the other thing, just remember, be authentic, right? These are nice people calling in. Just be you, right? Have a good conversation. Don't forget that. And there's some other reminders that we'll put in the notes here, but don't talk too quickly. Slow down your pace. You come across more confident. You come across easier to understand. So be sensitive to your pace that you're not talking too quickly. And then lastly, know the show. Have you taken a look at the website? Spend a few minutes, a few blocks of time during the day today and take a look at the website. Know the show inside and out. Some of the special things going on, some of the attractions people might be going to. And when you're a resource like that, you can have great conversations with people, which these relationships and these conversations will lower their resistance to getting a quote and increase their receptivity to accepting your offer a little bit later. All right, so there's a lot of marketing that's being done to generate the calls inbound. The main one is we just mailed out the Encompass magazine. Right on the front cover, folks, it says, get a quote for AAA insurance by March 31st and get 2 free tickets to the Denver Auto Show. So it's pretty clear, folks. People are going to expect to get a quote when they call in. That's what it says, right? So we should not be shy about what we have to do from our end of the bargain here. We're going to provide them a quote, but of course we want to do that in a positive way. Now you want to think about it from the member or customer's perspective, okay? They're giving a call, they want free tickets. We love free stuff. I love free stuff, right? At the same time, they might be a little bit resistant or hesitant when they first call in to get the tickets. Like, I know I got to go through this whole quoting process, but we want to be very thoughtful and deliberate about how we can reduce that resistance and increase their receptivity because we know up front, yeah, they know they need to do this quote, but how can we do that? It's by being laser focused on the first 15 seconds of the call. We've all heard you never get a second chance to make a first impression. When we're talking about a phone call, it couldn't be more true. So we need to be at our best in the first 15 seconds. In the first part of the call, refer to the call track. We're doing a few things. Our opening is our introduction. We're sharing our name. You'll notice we have something we call the assurance of help. It sounds like this. They say, hey, I'd like some free tickets. And you're going to say, I would be happy to help you with that. we're going to be so excited about helping them, it's going to disarm them, and immediately it's going to be like a breath of fresh air, like, wow, this is awesome. It's a little easier than I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to have to fight for these 2 tickets, right? So be thoughtful, use that assurance of help. If you want to get creative, we have another example in there. It's like, hey, fantastic. You called the right place. I'm the person who can help you out with that. Immediately, they're feeling better. After the assurance of help, we go to what we call the name exchange. We did introduce ourselves initially on the phone. We want to reintroduce ourselves because remember, up to this point, they've been going through a phone tree. They're probably just thinking about what they're going to say. And oftentimes, they're not listening. And they may not have caught your name. And in most cases, they didn't catch your name. So this is a great way to do a quick verbal handshake. And I call this getting human to human, okay? It's not business to, consumer. It's 2 people talking. So, hey, once again, my name's Bob. And what's your name, please? Hi, Mark? Mark, really nice to meet you today. And so now it's 2 people talking, and what you've done in just a matter of a few seconds is you've really taken the resistance down and their receptivity goes up. And that's where we want them to be, right? After that, we're going to ask them about the show. For example, how'd you hear about the tickets? We likely know where they heard about it, from the Compass magazine, maybe from a radio ad. Let them talk. The more we can get them to talk up front, the better, they're more engaged. And then we have a couple other questions there. They obviously are motivated to go to the show. Ask them, hey, when was the last time you went to the show? Hey, who are you going to take to the show with you? Get them talking. And all this information that they share is also very valuable when you're going to generate the quote. They may be sharing that they're going with a younger member of the family who's a driver, and so maybe they're going with their spouse, etc. All this stuff is useful in the quote as well. You're not wasting any time. At the same time, you're having a conversation and building a relationship. So really thoughtful about that first 15 seconds. If you do nothing else, nail that part, and you'll see that you have even better results. Once we've done that, we're going to go into discovery. I'm not going to go over some of the systems like pause and what information they require. What we want you to reference here are a couple of different types of questions. We call them must-react questions. The other ones we call max impact questions. These are questions that build value. They are questions that when we ask them, it's hard for them not to be able to answer. And it gets them engaged, and it gets you really valuable information. And it expands the conversation beyond price. If we just go to our system and we produce a quote, it's a transaction, number 1. And number 2, we are going to rely on price. If we have a great price and it saves them hundreds of dollars, yeah, you're probably going to get the sale. Now, on the other hand, if it's close, they might be thinking, it's not worth switching. So we want to expand their view on what they're examining here by asking some super targeted questions. You can review the call track there, but I'll just give you a couple of examples of what I mean by, good quality maximum impact question. For example, how long have you been a AAA member? I realize that most people calling in are members, but this helps us, number 1, if they're not a member, they'll let us know. And if they are a member, they typically know how long they've been a member, and they will lead into their AAA love story. All the while, you're gathering information, creating rapport, lowering their resistance. You get it? Kind of sneaky, huh? Simple things make a huge difference. A couple other ones here. This one was a favorite of many of the agents out there. Hey, in addition to price, what other factors are important to you when you're selecting an insurance company? That one takes price off the table. We know it's important. But then it gets them to think about, okay, what are some of the other factors? So take a look, identify 1 or 2 questions there that can help you get the conversation beyond price and some other things they value. There's a lot of gold in there, so check that out. So obviously when we're asking these questions, the key thing to do is to make sure we're listening. And we know we're doing some active listening when we can ask a relevant follow-up question. If they say they're bringing their family, ask them, well, how many children do you have? What kind are they? Oh, you got 3? One of each. Great. Okay. No, don't use that. No, but when people say maybe they're bringing their son or daughter to the show, what could you ask? Oh, great. Well, how old are they? That's a drill down question. That demonstrates you're listening actively and you're more engaged with them. As we're talking to them, I think of a traffic signal. When we come up to a traffic signal, we either have a red light, a yellow light, or a green light. And when you're talking to the member, you're probably getting the same feeling, that gut feeling you have. There are some folks that are giving you that green light, and that's where you want to go for the close, okay? That's where you're asking them to bind the policy, everything's gone fantastic. Then you've got the yellow lighters, and it's just like when you come to an intersection. If you can make it through the intersection safely, you do it. Also, there's no police officers or a camera. If you can make it through the intersection safely, that's what you do in the sales aspect as well. You want to actually move forward to the sale, ask for that commitment. Now, on the other hand, if you are getting that red light or you can't get through that intersection safely, you want to slow things down and set up a follow-up step. Live to have a conversation another day. So we give you a couple of examples of closing there. One, the more aggressive, assumptive close, and then we give you some other ones if you're getting that red light or it's maybe not a huge difference in price, so you can check out the call track. We give you some really good examples there. One closing example that you might like, if maybe we priced higher than their existing company right now. So this one is really popular with some of the agents. Hey, as you know, AAA is a member organization and we're here to help our members. Whether you are insured with us or not, we want to ensure that you're getting the right protection at a competitive price. Things do change with insurance rates and carriers, and just like the Colorado weather. And we can take another look at your policy next year. How does that sound? So again, that's all there. That's the gold, right? After that, we want to wrap up that call. Of course, thank them for calling in. Maybe remind them of some of the things that they're looking forward to in the show. And the last thing here is invite them over to the booth. Tell them you want to meet them. Have them come on over. And that way they come on by, and we know once we meet people face to face, that's when that receptivity goes even higher. You can build some personal rapport, and it's going to lead to even more sales. Lastly, follow up, okay? And this is where you take your sales from good to great. And it's staying in front of people. Most people may not buy on that first call, so you want to make sure you put a follow-up plan in place. I've been told this, it's been useful for me as well, is make small promises and keep them. For example, maybe you say, hey, I'm going to send you a link to the AAA smartphone app, and then you send it, right? You made the promise, easy peasy, send it to them. You're actually building trust when you do that. Remind them, come by the booth. Maybe you can give them some of the giveaways that you have going on. Again, you've made a promise, they come on by, and you're going to give it to them. And then lastly, this is probably the most powerful one. If you have that sale that was kind of close, but you didn't close them, call them up and make sure they got their tickets. Hey, Bob, just checking to make sure you got their tickets. You're about 99.9% sure they did, so that you got a yes there, and it's an opportunity to continue the conversation and ideally help motivate them to insure with you and AAA. Lastly, just keep track of your progress. Each and every day you might just check in with a partner at lunchtime. How are you doing on your calls? What are you doing that's working? And just share some ideas that can kind of keep you a little bit more focused so you can really be on your game when these calls come in. Real quick wrap, folks. Number one, be prepared, okay? Have your script out, have your attitude ready. Number two is use the call flow and practice it so it comes out naturally. And remember, some of the words and phrases in there are very specific and tested, and they work, okay? We're not doing that because we feel good. They work. And then have a follow-up plan in place. And then finally, hold yourself accountable. Get a partner, check in with somebody each and every day. You do all this stuff, I guarantee you're going to have even more sales from this. Thanks again for taking some time out. This is Bob Coakley, your humble sales coach. And remember, nothing works unless you do.